Tom Schumann, editor of the Indiana Chamber's BizVoice magazine. Our current green issue features a story on how new is not always the greenest option for building. Joining us today is Sarah Hempstead, a principal with Schmidt & Associates in Indianapolis. Sarah, you talked in our article about many other buildings, older buildings that were actually designed with sustainability in mind. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. When we invented air conditioning, we changed the way that we designed buildings. Before, we knew how to heat and cool with a mechanical system. We designed our buildings to do it for us. Windows that you could open, higher ceilings so that heat would rise. We designed buildings so that we put trees so that they would shade us in the summer and they drop their leaves and we'd get the sun in the winter. We used to make buildings that helped us be energy efficient just because of their nature.
New buildings today, LEED certifications, kind of all the bells and whistles, get very popular, but again, just not always the best option, are they?
Well, not always. Most buildings have a series of systems. Things like finishes we replace every 7 years or so as styles change. But when you dial all the way back to a building structure, there's a lot of embodied energy in that structure. There was a lot of energy to build the materials, to put them together, to ship them to your site. Sometimes it's far more sustainable to dial your building all the way back to those bones, that structure, and build your way back out again to a new configuration that works better for the current lifestyle, the current business plan, the current model, without starting all the way over.
Sarah, as we wrap up, companies have tough decisions, new or renovate. What are just a couple pieces of advice you might give as they're in that decision-making process?
Well, again, if you dial back your systems, you've got to have a building that works for you. But if you can, take your building all the way back to its bones and rebuild and infill and have a system that works for you, you can probably do that more efficiently than starting all the way from ground up. So it's an economic decision as much as a sustainability one.
Sarah, thanks so much for joining us today. You can read much more in the current edition of BizVoice. Log on to bizvoicemagazine.com.